day after a snowstorm blizzard is always just such a rude reality check when it comes to actually having to go back to your regular life. And as with everything in the world, it can be equated to Newton's third law of motion. And that is that for every action, there is always an equal and opposite reaction. And yesterday's action involved riding this thing in fun, fluffy, new snow that's not too cold, with zero time constraints or destinations that I needed to be at. The day was mine. Starkly compare that to what I'm going through right now, which is riding on a much less exciting bike through like crustier, deeper, crappier snow throughout the entire city, with very much a deadline on where I exactly need to be. Equal and opposite reactions. Before I move on to the next thing, check out this homemade star nut driver. When I was putting that Pro stem onto the Poseidon, I found myself actually needing to take a little bit more of the steer tube off of the fork, and the star nut needed to go down a little bit further. Now the problem that you have when you don't have a proper star nut driver is if you try and just use a bolt and just tap it in, it tends to go in crooked. So this spark plug socket, that's an 18 mil, actually ended up being the perfect size that when it actually went into the steer tube, it kept everything straight and lined everything up perfect. It's just another one of those things I don't have to buy now. I'll be completely honest. I'm not fully sure what everybody's appetite for these Q&As actually are, but I do really enjoy doing them. Mostly because it gives me an idea of like what it is that you guys are thinking that like you'd like to maybe pull out of me. And sometimes it goes from just being a quick answer on here, which is fun to do, to just like a straight up full production video. My mind will be turning the minute that I start reading them, and then I'm like, that is a fantastic idea for an entire shoot. So that's part of the reason that I like to do them. The other part is just that, I don't know, getting to answer questions is fun. So just like last time, I went on to the community tab of the channel and asked you guys to like ask me some questions. Live video? No, not for this one, and I don't know when I would do a live video. Have you thought of adding suspension on a fixed gear bike? No. But maybe a fixed gear like mountain bike would be kind of cool. There was like a GMBN video with like a fixed gear mountain bike that was fun to watch, and it just kind of made me feel like it might be fun to like try. Any experience with welding bike frames? I've never done like true like TIG weld or like brazing or anything like that, but I have on my first road bike cut out the brake bridge and moved it down a little bit to convert it from 27-inch wheels to 700, and I needed to put a new brake bridge so that the brakes would reach the smaller diameter wheels. That stuff doesn't scare me, I just don't really have like the means to do it properly. I'm literally sitting next to my MIG welder here, but this is just not the equipment to do that with. Are you ever going to open your own bike shop? No. I kind of think that the physical bike shop thing, if you're not doing it absolutely right and you're not in 100%, is kind of a dying part of our industry. And if I'm going to do anything, that's going to involve this channel, a warehouse, and it's going to be mostly production and a spot where like maybe some people could come in to do their own work and I could like retail parts. I don't know. That's an idea that I throw around all the time. I just know it's not a bike shop, and I know I don't want to do bike mechanic work for someone else unless I already know them. After looking at all the Squid Bike goodies, do you plan on making a small paint project at some point? This would be referring to Squid Bikes who use frames built by Frank the Welder, I believe. They'll paint them in these like crazy, hilarious, like different kind of method ways. And generally speaking, they're using a product called Spray.Bike. I have never used that product, but yes, I do want to try the like dish soap thing. Did you build or buy the LA with 10 speed for a reason? The reason that it has 10 speed is because that's what was on it. I'm probably not going to do anything to it unless I can afford to put a nicer like SRAM group set on it, like Force or Red. Do you still bike commute to work? I haven't seen a bike commute video in a while. I've brought this up a few times in past videos where my hours of work make it very, very difficult to shoot any of my commute. It's just pitch black in the morning when I'm trying to get there 7 a.m. And when I leave work, it's around 4:30 or 5 p.m. It's usually dark then as well. But yeah, totally, I still commute. How is it to live with so many bikes? Are you thinking of changing your time spender onto something a bit more small like Beyblades? Living with so many bikes is tough, I guess. But right now we have the space for it. But yeah, this is just one of these things that we've known for a long time now, that if we're gonna have to move somewhere, we have to have space for like an abundance of bikes, motorcycles, and probably at the next house like another project car. So no, I don't try to like change my ways so that I have like things that take up less space. For the average person, is it better to upgrade a cheap bike or just to buy a new bike? Almost always it makes more sense to just buy a new bike. Cold temperature cutoff for bike commuting, or do you go no matter how frigid the temperature? I tend to not actually look at how cold it is outside. If the roads are icy, I'm less inclined to go out in it. You ever think of doing some sort of track cross event or build? I will go to an event, I won't ever organize. And to build one, yes, I'm gonna build one. Any pics of the dorkiest looking bike you ever had? Yes, the first bike I ever had was the dorkiest. Can we ever expect Spindat branded cycling caps? Maybe. Also, any word on the collab with Decline and others? We're probably going to do that more in spring or summer. What are your thoughts on single speed cyclocross? I like single speed cyclocross. The idea of it being a lot less serious than any of the other sports is also a lot more attractive. Do you have any experience with these cheaper indoor bike trainers? They're probably fine. They'll give you the resistance you need. I say go for it. Don't spend too much on them because they're so boring. How do you approach riding for leisure exercise competition differently, both physically and mentally? I used to not. I used to go into every single ride, like every commute, every race with the same attitude that my legs need to absolutely be dead at the end of it. And if I'm not dead at the end of it, I didn't try hard enough or I didn't ride for a long enough time. Only probably this year have I really started to calm down on that a little bit. So I'd almost say that my like leisure riding has really calmed down. I don't really think about it too much. I just know I want to go for a bike ride, so I do it. If I'm going to go out with the like idea that I'm really trying to beat myself up, then I look at like exercise and competition pretty much the exact same way. You shouldn't feel very good at the end of it, but you should still be having fun. Considering you bought a road bike with Dura Ace and Reynolds carbon wheels, why did you choose the alloy framed option? I'm gonna link to like a video here somewhere by Specialized when they came out with their like DSW design. Honestly, the LA Sprint is probably one of the better options that you can get into for not spending a ton of money and getting better performance out of definitely every entry level carbon frame and like a good amount of mid-level carbon frames. Just go on to Instagram and search the hashtag Allez Sprint and just look at all of the builds on there. A lot of them are like, it's such a solid frame that's not too much money that you'll see them at like every build level. It's just some are like baller like mine and some are like the bike that you can buy off the shelf. It's just like this really cool, strong, fast platform that a lot of people really love and have been adopting. Geometry charts in the mountain bike world have been the most discussed topic in the last 5 years or so. Do you have a clear consciousness about, I know what I want for a full suspension mountain bike. It's gonna be 130 mil travel, front and rear. It's not going to be super laid out. I've ridden some bikes like that. I don't love it, especially for the terrain around here. Basically what's gonna happen is whatever bike that follows those criteria, being 130 mil, front, rear kind of bike, that pops up for like a good price, that will be the one that I buy. Of all your bikes, which one is your favorite reasonably priced bike and why? Easily the Poseidon. I love how cheap it is to buy new and the fact that they allow you to do so much with it. Preferred crank length. I don't have one. Every single one of these bikes in here probably has a different crank length on it. Which hub do you prefer, ball bearing hub or sealed bearing hub? Sealed, because you can change the axle ends on them and swap them between bikes. How long did it take for your ass to toughen up to not need cycling shorts for commuting? There was a time when I only rode like fixed gears and jeans, so I didn't even know that there was like a pair of cycling bib shorts to wear. So like, I think it was ignorance and like, 2 weeks. That's what I'm gonna say. Thanks for your questions. If you ever find yourself wanting to support the channel and try and make my like warehouse dream, Patreon below, or Teespring, or buy everything you need through the Amazon links below. See you.